Hello everyone, it's Taylor, and today I'm going to be filming another first for me. Today we'll be doing a Pan That Palette intro video. I feel like my background might be a little bit dark today, but we're just gonna have to work with it. As long as I'm well lit, I guess that's the most important thing. But let's go ahead and jump right into the Pan That Palette. So for 2019, I am not going to be doing a traditional Pan That palette in the sense that I'm not pulling one specific pre-made eyeshadow palette that I want to use for the entire year. In 2018, I set myself a goal of rotating through all of my eyeshadow palettes and trying to hit pan in every single one. For the most part, I did achieve that. I used all of my eyeshadow palettes for about a week to 2 weeks at a time, and then if I wanted to use them longer, sometimes even up to a month. The majority of the palettes I did hit pan in, so I'm pretty happy with the progress that I made in 2018. However, when I was focusing on all of my pre-made palettes, I started to neglect my individual and single eyeshadows. So, all that being said, I think you can probably guess where 2019 is going. I'm going to focus on using up single eyeshadows or my individual pans of eyeshadow and supplement in pre-made palettes and hopefully hit pan on those. I'm going to be pretty lax on the rules for this year because one, it's my first time documenting a Pan That Palette series, and two, I'm just not quite sure how this year is going to go. So I do know that I want to use up and hit pan on a lot of eyeshadow, but outside of that, I'm just kind of winging it. If you've watched my Team Project Pan intro, then you will have seen this Z palette here. This is my life palette for all intents and purposes. Throughout the year, I will be panning shadows out of this everyday palette, and I will be replacing shadows as they need to be replaced. So for example, I am pretty close to using up this one here that is Mirage by Makeup Geek. Once I finish that, I'll swap something else in. Unfortunately, that's going to take away from the effect that using up an entire pre-made palette gives, because you get to see the full entire palette with all of the pan, and it's a really cool, exciting look if you like using up makeup, but this is just what's gonna work best for me, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the palette as close to the camera as I can so that you can see the current progress on all of my shades. If you can see my nails, I apologize because I'm in desperate need of a fill. All right, so trying to get that all there. Hopefully you can see everything. Okay, so let's talk goals for this palette. First things first, obviously I did say that I want to completely use up and finish Makeup Geek Mirage, which is this yellow shade here. I use it as an all over lid shade, so that should be no problem. In addition, I do want to use up every other shade that currently has pan. So I'll go through those shades for you right now. In this palette here, we have 6 shades currently that have pan. First is this white shade here that I used as an inner corner highlight. I depotted that from the Morphe 350 if I'm not mistaken. Next to it we have Makeup Geek Shimma Shimma, Makeup Geek Mirage. A little bit further down here we have Makeup Geek Purely Naked. Then down in the second row we have this shade here that I depotted from the Kathleen Lights and Morphe collaboration. It's a few years old. It was in a black sort of cardboard packaging, but it was a pretty good palette. I did save most of the shades from that when I depotted it. However, this one here is a nice dupe for Matte Texture. I believe that's the name of the shade. So it's just a nice crease shade, and sometimes I use it all over the lid as well. Next to that, we have Makeup Geek Preppy, I believe. Oh, nope. Makeup Geek Desert Sands. Preppy is this one there. So I want to finish up all of the shades that I currently have pan in. So that's only 6 shades. I think that's a pretty achievable goal. In addition to that, I would like to hit pan and use up this shade here, which is Makeup Geek Frappe, And then I'd also like to hit pan and use up MAC Brown Script. So that's the last MAC eyeshadow in my collection, and it's also a goal for my team project pan. So I'm just gonna kind of combo it and put it in this Pan That palette as well. I would like to hit pan on these two shades here. One is Tea Garden and the other is Glass Bowl. Those are both ColourPop individual eyeshadows. In addition to all the shadows that I want to hit pan on and use up, I do have some pretty fun, colorful shades in this palette. I have some nice greens, some bright pinks and purples. I have really been feeling pink and purple eyeshadows lately. There was a pre-made palette, the ColourPop Ooh La La, that I've just seen recently, and I was so tempted to pick up that whole palette, but instead of doing that, I went ahead and picked up these individual shadows here, just to give me the feel of that palette while also having the freedom to mix and match the shades that I want. I really do not need any more pre-made palettes in my collection, so I figured just picking up those few individuals was the better option for me personally. I don't think I'm gonna hit pan on any of my green, pink, or purple shadows in this palette here, but I do definitely want to get some use out of them and create some fun looks that are a little bit outside of my comfort zone. So I've definitely set some pretty lofty goals as far as using up eyeshadow. Because these are full-size individual pans, they definitely have more shadow than most pans inside pre-made palettes would, but I do think that my goals are achievable, and like I said, I'm going to be flexible. So in the coming videos, I may change my goals, I may bring in new goals as I finish up certain shades. So we're just kind of going to play that by ear, but I definitely know that I want to use up as much shadow as possible. As I mentioned in the intro, I will be supplementing pre-made palettes into this to hopefully still continue to get use out of those palettes as well. I'll be doing updates for this project monthly, so I think every month I'll swap out 1 or 2 pre-made palettes to go along with my Z palette. For the month of January, I have already started using this adorable little palette here. This is the Too Faced Tickled Peach palette, and I was gifted this for Christmas this year. The shades in this palette are absolutely stunning. You can see them here. And I actually was wearing this palette in my, what video was that? My blush and bronzer collection video. So if you want to see the look that I did with this palette, I'll go ahead and link that video down below. As of right now, I don't have any goals to hit pan in this palette. I do just want to get a little bit more use out of it. It is the newest palette in my collection, so I'm not trying to finish any shades up. I just want to use it and get a feel for it throughout the next month. This video is going up in the middle of the month or around the middle of the month, so I'm not sure if I'm going to try and transition the updates more towards the beginning of the month. I do have quite a few series going up on my channel right now, so cramming it towards the beginning of the month might not make too much sense. If I do keep it mid-month, I'll just update you once a month this year in the middle of the month. How many times can I say middle of the month? Okay, so I think that was a pretty brief, I hope brief, intro video to my Pan That Palette challenge for 2019. I may end up changing the name if I can come up with something that fits my sort of customized Pan That Palette for this year, but if not, I'll just go ahead and stick with the bog standard Pan That Palette series title. I am so excited to get some use out of my individual shadows this year, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and are excited to see what progress I can make. If you guys are doing a Pan That palette, let me know in the comments below. Let me know which palette you're panning, or if you are doing like I am and working on some individual shadows. Other than that, I think I've said everything I have to say for this video, so thank you so much. If you're still here, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you do want to see more of my no-buy year content, as well as me trying to use up makeup in my collection.